Keanu Reeves is an actor who has become a symbol of modesty and kindness among Hollywood stars. He always remained true to himself, no matter how much attention and fame he received. But one evening, after filming another movie, he faced a situation that changed his outlook on life. He decided to visit a new upscale restaurant in Los Angeles, dressed in his usual jeans and t-shirt. However, when he approached the door, the security guard refused to let him in, citing a strict dress code. Keanu, not wanting to create a conflict, simply left. But this incident was a turning point. How did Keanu decide to respond to this injustice? How did this incident make him change his attitude towards the world around him? Listen on to find out. Keanu Reeves has always been a unique figure in Hollywood. His name has evoked associations with cult films, but few people have thought about what lies behind his career and why he became such a person. Keanu is not just an actor. He is a symbol of modesty and simplicity, a rare combination of deep humanity and public success. Among all the Hollywood stars who live in luxury and loud parties, Keanu has always remained modest and did not seek to attract unnecessary attention. His wardrobe was dominated by simple t-shirts, jeans, and even sneakers, clothes he wore without any worries. And that was part of his charm. He didn't try to be someone else, didn't pretend. He was himself, simple and accessible to everyone. It was not just clothes and style, it was a whole philosophy of life. He made no effort to become an idol or to attract the public. He just lived the way he wanted to and valued what was really important: peace, simplicity, and his family, relationships with people, and, of course, loyalty to himself. For Keanu, life was not a competition for status or popularity. He chose simple pleasures like shopping, cycling, meeting friends without the media and press releases. But one day, everything changed. The night he decided to visit a new restaurant in the heart of Los Angeles, Keanu had no idea that the moment would be a turning point in his life. He had heard about this restaurant from his friends, heard that it had become very popular among the local elite. However, for Keanu, this was not a restaurant where he needed to be indulgent about his appearance or feel particularly important. He simply decided to visit this place to enjoy dinner after a hard day of filming. After that incident in the restaurant, Keanu thought long and hard about how he could make a difference to help people feel equal, regardless of their appearance or financial condition. What happened was a kind of signal to him. He realized that although he did not care about the material side of life, there are moments when his public personality can become a powerful tool for change. The problem was not only in the restaurant business, the problem was in the social system itself, which judges a person by their appearance and what they have, not by who they are. In the weeks the incident, Keanu began to think more and more about how he could make a difference. He was not inclined to take big and loud steps, but in this case, he realized that his decision could be important to many people. The idea to buy the restaurant not spontaneous. It was a thoughtful decision in which he invested not only money but also his heart. He didn't want to just change restaurant. He wanted to change the way people perceive each other. The restaurant Keanu bought was not just a place to eat. It was a place where the elite gathered, where people measured each other by the size of their wallets, by a clothing brand, by status in society. Keanu did not want this place to remain like that. He decided that the restaurant would become a place where everyone could come, no matter what they look like, and not worry about their appearance. He wants people to be able to take off their masks and be themselves without fear of judgment or hostile stares. The process was not as simple as he had imagined. Sure, he bought the restaurant, but the changes were much more complicated than just rearranging the furniture and changing the menu. He faced the problem that restaurants of this level usually have strict requirements for their guests. It wasn't just an investment in business, it was an investment in an idea that not everyone could understand at first. Many of Keanu's friends and colleagues doubted his decision. They believed that he was just going to spend money for something that makes no practical sense. And yet, for him, it was more than just business. He believed that by changing the atmosphere of this restaurant, he could change the world around him. The restaurant began to rebuild. Keanu began to introduce new rules. There will be no more strict restrictions for guests. From now on, no matter how people, they are allowed to be here. Instead of loud music and dark, luxurious interiors, he decided to make the space more cozy and open. The whole atmosphere was to promote a sense of home comfort. The style was simple but elegant. The tables were arranged so that people did not sit too far apart, but could communicate, exchange stories and ideas. This restaurant became a place where there was no need to hide behind masks. Both the rich and those with little could gather here. But the biggest change was not only in the appearance of the restaurant. It was a change in the very approach to visitors. Keanu himself began to interact with guests personally, which was very unusual for such places. He did not limit himself to the role of the owner. Visitors began to come to the restaurant with joy and a feeling that they were welcome. Ordinary people from different walks of life who previously could not afford such restaurants now had access to a place that used to be unattainable for them. They no longer felt like outsiders. They were not afraid of being judged for their clothes or for how much money they could leave on the table. Keanu made this place a home for everyone, where everyone could be. Every day the restaurant was changing, and Keanu was changing with it. He realized that his decisions might look like just another business project, but for him, it became something more. It was an opportunity to influence the world around him, the way people perceive and relate to each other. And although for most people his actions were just changes in gastronomy, for him it was a chance to create a place where there would be no more distinctions, where everyone would feel equal. This restaurant has become a living example of how kindness and equality can be the basis for the development of any business. And although not everyone believed in Keanu's idea at the beginning, the restaurant was now one of the most popular places in the city. He has become a symbol of how simplicity and humanity can change not only the environment, but also the people around them. Keanu began to realize that these changes had not gone unnoticed. He received a lot of positive feedback and support from people who came to the restaurant, and this only confirmed that his ideas could indeed have a great impact on the world. Although he did not seek to make sensations, it was in this restaurant that he found a way to realize his philosophy of kindness and equality. Keanu didn't like to wear expensive suits or fancy shirts. He was comfortable in simple clothes, even if they didn't meet the standards that are accepted in such establishments. All his thoughts were focused on relaxing after a hard day's work, spending time alone with himself, sitting at a table and enjoying a good meal. However, when he approached the restaurant, he could feel from afar that something was wrong. There were those looks that ordinary people don't usually give importance to, but on stars like him, they were noticeable. His simple clothes did not fit the atmosphere of this place, and it was obvious. Everyone else around him was dressed in elegant suits and fancy dresses, and he stood there in his jeans and sneakers, feeling the attention he was getting. When Keanu approached the door of the restaurant, he was met by security guards. There were no words of greeting, no sign of respect. There was just a standard refusal, "I'm sorry, but we have a strict dress code, and you don't fit it." It was not just a moment when he was not allowed into the restaurant because of his appearance. It was the moment when he was made to understand that in this world, appearance matters more than internal qualities, the essence of a person. And although this was a standard situation for many people, for Keanu, this moment became a reflection on how society defines us by the way we look. Keanu did not create a scandal. He didn't start talking about his fame or demanding the right to be in the restaurant. He just smiled, thanked the security guard for his attention, and left. Everyone standing nearby watched in amazement as one of the greatest actors in Hollywood, a man whom everyone knows, simply turned and left without making a tragedy of it. But this incident left a sense of something important. Something was changing in his soul. He had long been accustomed to the fact that his life was under constant surveillance, and that appearance was important to many people. However, here, in this restaurant, it became clear how much this world defines our value on how we look, not who we are inside. This was a real shock for him. He realized that even those who can afford the best don't always have the right to be seen as equal to others. Soon after the incident, Keanu thought about the importance of this moment for his future life. He decided that he could make and not just sit on the sidelines and watch. Keanu decided to buy the restaurant, but not to increase his business or make more money. He wanted to create a place where one would judge a person by their appearance. A place where every visitor would feel comfortable, no matter what clothes they were wearing, how much money they had in their wallet, or what social status they had. Keanu didn't just become a restaurant owner. He began to see this purchase as a chance to change people's attitudes toward what is really important. He refused to use luxurious interiors and expensive furniture, deciding that the most important thing was to create an atmosphere where people would feel equal, where there would be no social barriers or judgment. He decided to make the restaurant a place where kindness and mutual respect would be the main value, where everyone who crossed the threshold would feel important, regardless of their appearance or status. Keanu not only changed the atmosphere of the restaurant, he also changed his attitude to life. His decision was not just a business move. He realized that changing this place could be the beginning of a big idea that would have an impact on many people. This restaurant has become a symbol of how important it is to value people not by what they look like, but for who they are on the inside. It was part of his new philosophy to treat everyone with respect, regardless of how they are dressed or what they do for a living. Keanu Reeves' story did not end with this incident. He realized that the world around him could be different, and that maybe he had the power to change it, even because of such trifles as a restaurant where only the is appreciated. The restaurant reopened, but this time it was completely different. Keanu opened it to everyone. No dress code, no judgment, no prejudice. Now everyone could come in without worrying about whether they fit in. It was not just restaurant, but a place where people could feel at home, no matter who they were. And Keanu continued to be a part of this process, communicating with guests, helping them, and trying to make this world a better place. As with any process of change, the next stage was when Keanu realized that his restaurant was now more than just a place to dine. People who visited his restaurant were no longer just enjoying delicious food. They were part of a big idea, part of what was happening within the walls of this restaurant. Over time, it became apparent that the restaurant had become a real center of change, not just another place too. Every week the restaurant became more and more popular. Its presence attracted not only visitors, but also other entrepreneurs who were looking for a way to create similar spaces for people. The place became not only popular among ordinary citizens, but also attracted the attention of journalists, philanthropists, cultural figures, and even government officials. Everyone was amazed by what was really changing. Not only the physical environment of the restaurant, but also the way people began to interact with each other. Keanu has never felt such a power of influence before. He didn't out to be a hero or a subject of discussion in the media. He just wanted people to start thinking about treat each other in a new way. Now, this restaurant has become a platform for him to communicate the ideas he held in his heart to the world. He realized that he had created was more than just a business. It was a community. A community based on kindness, mutual respect, and equality. Not only celebrities began to come to the restaurant, but also ordinary people whose story be similar to that of many others. These were ordinary people who no longer felt ashamed of their appearance or financial situation. They began to find friends among people they had not been able to socialize with before. To communicate. The stories at the tables were different, but they all had one thing in common. They were real, without any embellishments or masks. Over time, the restaurant also became a place to discuss important social issues, a space for those who were looking for change, those who wanted to make the world a better place. At exhibitions, lectures, and meetings with people who had something important to say. Keanu initiated these events, although he always stayed in the shadows, not seeking fame. Keanu's restaurant once organized a charity event where guests could make donations to support stray animals. And it was not just a fundraiser. It was a process that brought together people from different social classes, people from different backgrounds and experiences. They all became part of something big that would not have happened without Keanu. For the first time in his life, he felt how one good deed can an entire society. The change is not long in coming. Local media started talking more about his restaurant. Articles appeared that highlighted not only the culinary achievements of the restaurant, but also how Keanu changed the way people perceive human interactions in society. Visitors began to realize that what they were experiencing at this table was not limited to food or drink. It was a new philosophy of mutual respect and openness. It was a place where everyone could be themselves. As is usually the case when something important and valuable starts to gain momentum, there is a lot of criticism at first. And while most people supported the idea of the restaurant, there were some who had doubts. Some businessmen believed that these changes could lead to a loss of income, while others questioned the very concept of a restaurant without strict rules. However, Keanu did not stop. He continued on his path and his belief that change, though difficult, was necessary. As is usually the case when something important and valuable starts to gain momentum, there is a lot of criticism at first. And while most people supported the idea of the restaurant, there were some who had doubts. Some businessmen believed that these changes could lead to a loss of income, while others questioned the very concept of a restaurant without strict rules. However, Keanu did not stop. He continued on his path and his belief that change, though difficult, was necessary. And then one day, when the restaurant was celebrating its one-year anniversary, Keanu addressed his guests with words that struck a chord with everyone. He thanked everyone for being a part of this project and said, "This place is not about food or wine. This place is about us, about our attitude towards each other. This is a place that reminds us that true beauty is not something we wear on our bodies, but something we carry in our hearts." These words became the basis for the next step, for the further development of this unique place. For Keanu, it was the culmination. He wasn't looking for fame. He wasn't looking to create an empire. He just wanted to create a place where everyone would feel important. And this place became a reality. The restaurant has become a symbol of the fact that real power is in people, in their ability to change the world around them. The whole event was a confirmation for him that even the smallest changes can lead to great results if you have the will to act and go it. Keanu Reeves didn't just change the restaurant, he changed people and witnessed how kindness and humanity can create a truly wonderful world. Keanu Reeves' restaurant has become more than just a business. It has become a symbol of how small changes can change the world. Something that once seemed like just an idea grew into a reality that inspired many. Visitors began to come to the restaurant not only for food, but also to be part of something bigger. The restaurant became a place where people not only socialized, but also changed their outlook on life. Keanu did not become a hero in the classical sense of the word. He did not seek fame and did not want to be worshipped. His goal was only one: to create a place where people could be themselves without fear or judgment. What he did was the beginning of a change that started with one restaurant, but spread further. All these changes were noticeable. But the real victory was not in the popularity of the restaurant or the success of the business. The real victory was that the restaurant became a place where people began to appreciate each other more. There was no longer a division between superior and inferior. Each guest was equal, and this feeling became the basis for new relationships and new opportunities. One evening, after another event where social equality issues were discussed, Keanu sat at a table and watched the attendees. He saw how people from different parts of the world were exchanging ideas and helping each other develop. At that moment, he realized that this was his victory. He had changed not only the restaurant, he had changed the way people treated each other. The restaurant has become a symbol of a new era, where it is not the outward appearance that matters, but the inner content and mutual support. His ideas resonated with people, and that was the most valuable thing. A year after the restaurant opened, Keanu decided to hold a special event for those who had supported him from the very beginning. He invited friends, colleagues, and people who had become part of his project. This event was an important moment for Keanu himself. He realized that what he had created had become something more than just a business or a cultural center. It was a real change that started with him, but has already become part of a larger movement. At this event, he made a speech that everyone remembered. This restaurant has become a symbol of the fact that we can change and support each other, no matter what we look like or how much we have. And I am happy that I was able to create a place that gives people a chance to be. These were not just words. It was a philosophy that Keanu lived by, and that he passed on to everyone who came to his restaurant. It was the end of one stage and the beginning of a new one. Keanu Reeves was still a man who believed in change, and even small steps, in his opinion, could lead to big results. He continued on his way, knowing that changes he had started could not be stopped. He created more than just a restaurant. He created a space where kindness and equality were valued, and this space changed people. At the same time, the restaurant continued to develop and became one of the most favorite places in the city. People even started coming from other countries to see how this place lives and works. It was a living example of what is not you need to be rich or famous to find a place in the world where you are perceived for your inner qualities, not for your appearance or status. The moral of the story is simple. Sometimes the most important changes do not occur in the outside world, but in the heart of a person. Keanu Reeves has become a living proof that the smallest actions can change the lives of others, and that kindness and equality are what can truly change the world. Although the story of Keanu Reeves and his restaurant hasn't ended since he started seeing the results of his changes, this last stage has become an important outcome of his journey. In a few years, the restaurant became more than just a place to dine. It was a center where people could not only enjoy good food, but also discover new opportunities, new connections, and new ideas. What seemed impossible, a restaurant without strict requirements and without dividing people into elite and ordinary, became a reality. Keanu never aspired to greatness. For him, this was not a goal. It was an opportunity to change the world, albeit a small fragment of it. He found his way in creating a space where people could feel equal and important. This restaurant and this whole process changed him as a person and also became an example for others who were looking for an opportunity to do something important. He didn't become a great politician or celebrity, but he changed a lot of people around him. And when people left his restaurant, they took with them not only good memories of delicious food, but also the feeling that change can be real and that they themselves have the power to make it happen. For Keanu, it was more important to see how people changed after visiting the restaurant. He saw hope appear in their eyes, how they began to appreciate not only themselves but also each other. Over time, this became his greatest achievement, to create a place where kindness was more than appearance, where the real value was in mutual support. Over time, the restaurant has become a symbol of a new philosophy, a philosophy of equality, support, compassion, and simplicity. And although Keanu never sought fame, his name became synonymous with change, with how small acts of kindness can change the big picture of the world. Those who visited the restaurant had a chance to see how these changes can start even with one small place, one idea, one big heart. Keanu remained modest, but everyone knew that his restaurant had become much more than just a business. It was an institution where kindness was valued, where everyone felt important and equal among others. And although this process did not end with this story, we can all contribute to creating a world where humanity and equality come first. And the story of Keanu Reeves and his restaurant has become an example of how real change begins with each of us, with our willingness to be kind and support each other. The moral of the story is simple. Each of us can be a change maker. And even one small kind action can change the lives of dozens of people. Equality, kindness, and compassion are not just words. They are something we can live by every day.